blessing. So if we can't conceive it, right? This is how the things come from heaven and earth. If we can't see it in our own mind, right? If we choose to see things in a certain way, does that affect our blessing? Do we see the cup half full? Do we see the cup half empty? Do we see the cup both empty and full? Do we see the cup both full and empty? These different perceptions or perspectives matter when we're talking about blessing. It matters if we acknowledge our blessing or not. Why is this important? Because there are things along the way that will poison it. Some of the things that poison our blessings, right? It can be internal or external. It could be our old lifestyle, our old mentalities, right? Our old emotions, experiences. But it can also be these outside sources. There could be the neighbor. There could be problems at work. There could be relationship issues. There could be family issues. There could be all these things, right, that are these outside sources. But ultimately, we take them in. We consume them. So what Ifa tells us sometimes is that along with the certain things we eat, we have to be careful how we eat. And why is that relevant? It's not just related to food, right? We have to think about the mechanics behind it, right? Like how when we speak with the Obi, how we offer the sacrifice, how in these different times that we consume those things and make them part of who we are. We'll eat the Obi, right? When we speak with the Orisha, or we speak, when we speak with Orisha, we'll consume the Obi. Why? Because of the blessing. We'll consume the Obi after it speaks. We'll consume the OT after Ifa has requested it or the Orisha have requested it, right? We'll do that because we want what Ifa said about it. We want to share in the success. We want to share in the victory over adversary in times. We want to share in the long life. We want to share in the prosperity. We want to share in all the array. When we have the 5-lobe kola, we will throw one away. Sometimes with 3-lobe kola, we may not eat any. Because it is the act of abstaining from certain negative energies. If I ask us to be vigilant, right, with these things, being mindful of what we take in and what we don't, being mindful about what affects us and what does not. How does it change our energy? Are there some clear examples that Ifa can give us about the things that we take in? Even some of the things that we give ourselves. If I ask us to be mindful in the Holy Odu, Osa Gunleja, Ifani, in the open, do they spread Ogun?
In the open, do they spread Ogunda?
The owl of Alara's household.
The owl of Alara's household.
In secret place, do they spread Ogun?
In secret place, do they spread Ogun?
The owl of Ejero's household.
The owl of Ejero's household.
The owner of Ogun icons is free.
The owner of Ogun icons is free.
to spread it wherever it pleases him.
To spread it wherever it pleases him.
Ifa's message for the provider of Egun.
Ifa's message for the provider of Egun.
Red pounded yam.
Red pounded yam.
Red powdered yams.
And also the provider of the maize beer.
And also for the provider of maize beer.
They're advised to offer a bow.
They were advised to offer a bow.
They complied.
They complied.
Death will not snatch away.
Death will not snatch away.
The provider of Egun pounded yam.
The provider
of Egun pounded yam.
Nothing evil shall befall.
Nothing evil shall befall.
The provider of guinea corn beer.
The provider of guinea corn beer.
Ashewa to.
Ashewa to.
So this Odu Ifa, in this verse, right, Ogun is poison. So in the verse, in the Yoruba is where it really kind of like you can see it's like Bogun, right? It's poison. So it could be poison, that poison, right? Something that is spread in the front. In the front of the house, right? So, you know, it's a position, but poison can be spread in the front of the house. This is the owl of Alara's household. Alara is a chief. The next line says, in a secret place, do they spread Ogun? So it's saying people do things openly and they do things secretly. In both ways, this Odu Ifa is telling us that the poison is spread. The owner of Ogun icons spread it anywhere he pleases. Some people will spread poison anywhere. How is that talking about us, and how, you know, how is it that we can avoid some of these challenges? We have to look at it both internally and externally. All right, we don't want to be the one, of course, spreading poison to others, spoiling one's blessing. We definitely don't want to spoil our own blessing. But it says, right, it puts all these, it categorizes or classifies or includes, right, well, no matter how it's done, whether it's done openly or secretly or anywhere, right? Both openly and secretly. Sometimes we do it to ourselves. Right? Sometimes, you know, it's possible, right? People have a negative thought, right? They get angry, they get sad, there's these different things, right, that we go through. If I was telling us, listen, don't poison your blessing. It's coming. Don't be impatient. Continue to have good character. Right? It's situational how the thing evolves, right? How the poison is seen. Is it something that we've been through before? Is it something that we recognize from someone else? Right? It asks us really to kind of like categorize or classify how we feel and how we see it. Because it gives the same structure to how it spread. Are we following things openly or secretly? Right? Are we having a particular type of behavior anywhere? Right? This can be how we poison. Are we following our destiny? Like Ifalola said with Ogunda Warren, right? Are we sticking to the script? Are we trying to put something else in there? It can be many different ways. If I ask us to look at things clearly, right? Some of us don't watch the news or watch TV because everything that we see on there, right, is poison. It's conditioning. It's conditioning. It's not overnight that one becomes an alcoholic, right? It's not the first time, I guess, I don't know, that a person becomes a drug addict. It's not overnight that these things happen. This is poisoning over time, conditioning. What things are we taking in, right? What things are we giving ourselves? How are we conditioned? Are those things that was given to us gradually, right? It takes a time for aspirin or Motrin to build up in one system. It takes the body to become physically dependent on another substance. It requires conditioning. Not every way that we're poisoned is it instantaneous. Some things are done over time. This is why Ifa gives us taboo. Ifa tells us to change our character. Ifa tells us don't get into arguments and fights. Ifa tells us don't make decisions while you're upset. Ifa tells us to sleep at the right time. Ifa tells us to use this soap. Ifa tells us to eat this thing during this time. Ifa tells us, right? It gives us the wisdom. So we don't poison ourselves. Ifalola said that it is one's a shade that one ought to appease before they appease any Orisha. Appeasing Orisha, right? Appeasing Isheshe, following before you can even cast Obi, before you can do any of these other things to get these definitive answers, right? It is understanding how the thing works. What are the things that I need to check off to make sure, what things do I need to make sure are present, right? To understand that the energy flows and that my creative potential is maximized. Are we taking the time to look? Are we taking the time to categorize how we feel, right?